Interactive Whiteboards, and Pedagogy. This slidecast is based on an analytical review of the literature on interactive whiteboards with regard to teaching. It's presented by Jane Feener as partial fulfillment of the course requirements for Education 6390. An interactive whiteboard is a large touch-sensitive board which is connected to a digital projector and a computer. The software on the computer provides for a variety of functions, including using the board as a flip chart, dry whiteboard, overhead projector, slide projector, and video player. The introduction of the interactive whiteboard as a teaching tool is relatively new to education. Sales have been increasing rapidly, with 750,000 boards being sold across the globe during 2009, with projected sales to reach 900,000 in 2010. Furthermore, 1 in 6 classrooms are forecasted to be using the technology by 2012, with the adoption rate for Canada of this new technology presently at 26%. Increasingly, interactive whiteboards are making their way into our classrooms, and teachers are being asked to take this new technological tool and with minimal training attempt to use it effectively to increase student achievement. Therefore, it becomes important to investigate the question, how do interactive whiteboards change the art of teaching? A review of the research literature on interactive whiteboards highlights many ways that this technological tool is bringing about changes in teachers' pedagogical practice. Some of these positive impacts are increased efficiency, use of multimedia and multisensory presentations, increased motivation, along with the promotion of interactivity and creativity were noted. Efficiency is one of the main benefits reported by teachers who use interactive whiteboards. Teachers commented that they are able to save time through the use of prepared lessons, which allow for smoother transition between lessons, which leads to faster pacing within and between lessons. This is seen as a benefit for teachers because it provides teachers with more time to teach. Similarly, the use of hyperlinks to multimedia files and the Internet in interactive whiteboard lessons help to save teachers time as it keeps lessons flowing smoothly. Furthermore, the ability of teachers to use the software that accompanies the board to prepare lessons at home is seen as an added benefit. The access to stored resources on the interactive whiteboard can free the teacher from a preoccupation with the management of resources in the classroom to allow them more time to closely monitor students, assess, and redirect their teaching as required. The multimodal nature of the interactive whiteboard gives teachers access to a wide range of materials which allow teachers to present ideas in different ways. Teachers commented that the addition of multimedia resources improved their overall presentation of the lessons and enhanced their teaching. Furthermore, teachers began to show increased awareness of students' various learning styles and looked for ways to incorporate different types of multimedia into their lessons to meet their students' needs. The use of multimedia resources provided by the interactive whiteboard had a positive effect on students' attention, participation, and motivation. Research on the interactive whiteboard reported favorable reactions and a high level of acceptance by teachers to this new technology. Teachers were enthusiastic about the technology and commented that they felt the nature of their teaching had changed. The novelty of the interactive whiteboard had motivated teachers to deliver their instruction more effectively. Furthermore, using interactive whiteboards made their lessons more enjoyable and interesting. The interactive feature of the board is seen by some researchers as the primary benefit of the interactive whiteboard. The implementation of interactivity using the interactive whiteboard was identified as one of the starting points for changing teachers' pedagogy toward a more student-centered approach to learning. As teachers develop interactive whiteboard technology proficiency, they are more likely to adopt a more interactive pedagogy. As teachers learn the more advanced functions and features of the interactive whiteboard, their direct instruction began to change. A study by Glover, Miller, Avarice, and Dorr found that there were three main approaches to teaching using the interactive whiteboard. The first approach was supported didactic, which consisted of teacher-centered lessons with teachers using the board as a visual support. Another approach was interactive, where the board is integrated into teaching and learning, but its full potential has not yet been developed. The final and preferred approach is enhanced interactivity. Enhanced interactivity is described as an approach to teaching whereby the teacher is fluent in technology use and flexible in structuring the lessons on the interactive whiteboard to give students opportunities for active learning. Teachers who reach this level of competence show considerably enhanced understanding of the learning process, talk about the ways that technology can support learning, and show ingenuity in developing materials to meet specific learning needs. The interactive whiteboard has the potential to facilitate a more creative approach to teaching. The interactive whiteboard provided opportunities for teachers to design and create digital resources that provide students with opportunities to become creative learners. Although many teachers have developed a competency for using the board, they have failed to develop its potential as a teaching tool and only use it for presentational value. When the board is used only as a presentational tool, it can have a negative impact on teaching because it promotes a teacher-centered instruction, which causes students to be more passive learners who can become overwhelmed by the fast-paced nature of lessons. A common theme that emerged in the research is that the interactive whiteboard does not necessarily have a transformative effect on pedagogy. Rather than transform teaching, the interactive whiteboard is being used by some teachers to support their established teaching styles. Because the board and the teacher are at the front of the room, they can fit into existing pedagogic practices of transfer and transmission models of learning. Another concern highlighted in the research is that interactive whiteboards are making students more passive. As teachers follow prepared scripts that consist of highly structured questions and answers, it prevents students from engaging in higher-level thinking through process-oriented discussion. Furthermore, because teachers can access more materials and move at a quicker pace, students can end up feeling overwhelmed by the presentation of too much information too quickly. There has not been sufficient evidence in the current research literature to show links between interactive whiteboard use and student achievement. After a 2-year study in England, there were no significant differences in test scores between schools using the interactive whiteboards and schools in a comparison group who did not have the boards. However, more recent research has pointed to gains in literacy, mathematics, and science for children aged 7 to 11, which was directly related to the length of time that the students have been taught with an interactive whiteboard. More long-term studies will be needed. What the research has highlighted is that it is still the quality of teaching that ensures progress. The interactive whiteboard alone does not guarantee it. Good teaching remains good teaching with or without the technology. The technology might enhance the pedagogy only if the teachers and pupils engaged with it and understood its potential in such a way that the technology is not seen as an end in itself, but as another pedagogical means to achieve teaching and learning goals. The research findings suggest a number of important implications for teachers. There is a need for teachers to examine their current pedagogical practice as to how they use the interactive whiteboard and look for ways to change their practice so that the student achievement will be enhanced. Furthermore, there is a need for ongoing professional development. Finally, it is recommended that teachers form a community of practice for support in learning to use this new tool. Most of the research on the interactive whiteboard has mainly focused on the benefits of the technology instead of on the ways in which pedagogy may need to be changed. If teachers are going to use this technological tool as more than a presentational aid, they will need to bring about a change in their pedagogy. Teacher awareness and implementation of interactivity were identified as two starting points to bringing about this change. There is a need for further professional development of teachers in how to use the interactive whiteboard. It is not enough just to show teachers how to use the features of the board, but it is just as important to provide training to teachers as to how students learn and how this can best be facilitated through the use of an interactive whiteboard. Any training teachers receive needs to be ongoing, with follow-up and support being offered to teachers. Teachers need to be given time to learn how to best use this technology and to develop their technological fluency before having this technology imposed on them in their classrooms. Establishing a community of practice can provide teachers with opportunities to think through new ideas and try out new practices with the support of colleagues who will collaborate with them and provide them with feedback. As we move into the 21st century, there is a need for a new set of skills for our students and how they will use knowledge. There is a need in education to move away from a teacher-centered classroom to a more student-centered classroom, and the interactive whiteboard has the potential, when in the hands of a skilled teacher who understands how to use the interactive features of the board, to accomplish this.